And out still Among Us. They're going with something different here as well. The Disruptor comes out, the Bloodseeker as well. We have seen Cuckoo play the Blood off, so maybe that's the game plan here once more, but really flexible hero, could go in multiple lanes. We'll see what exactly they have in mind. It lines up with the Disruptor well though, like, you know, Static Storm, Kinetic Field, and Bloodright all together are pretty nice. So it opens up a lot of combos here for Among Us, and you know, this series is a bit closer than yesterday. It's definitely more competitive. MG.TRUST is making them work for it. And if they play their cards right, they might be able to even upset them in at least one game here.
They could. I mean, that last game, it was looking good. Obviously, the way it ended was quite a dominant kind of way to end it for Among Us. But Mo2, they were keeping up in farm. They were giving it back to the side of Among Us and see if they can maybe change up the draft a bit. I mean, we've seen so much PL as of late for some reason. And the record is, but I can't remember seeing many PLs win over the past few days. It just seems like it is kind of out of meta right now, and it just takes a bit too much farm to make it do anything.
Yeah, it's been on a bit of a lower bar there. You've got to be cautious about going off meta heroes like that. Like, there's a reason why you don't see too much PL nowadays. It's been off. The timing's been off as well. We'll see what exactly Mo2 does give Jackie. Now, props to Jackie, though. His farm was really good. He had all the farm in the world. His farming patterns were perfect. He wasn't being punished as much as you'd expect, and he grew big. It's just not big enough in the PL. We'll see what they opt for. You're looking for something with the Oracle. They've ignored the Troll Among Us. They've ignored the Sven. This could easily come out here with the Oracle. Even a TB can be there, although into a Bloodseeker, that's a bit shaky at best. That makes it tricky for you to just stand and fight, and the magic damage really can ruin you. So some options there, some options not so viable. We'll see what Mo2 does, because when you pick the Oracle, you do want a pause one that maximizes it. Otherwise, it's kind of a moot pick if you don't.
No, that's fair. That's a very fair point. Well, now we'll get to see where this draft is going for both teams. Among Us, take a bit of time for this one. They could ban out the Troll right now if they did want to, just to save themselves the headache of going against that Oracle Troll, but no, they're actually going to ban out the PL, and they're going to go into the Morphling for Savage.
Yeah, the Savage special comes out. This also sort of preempts like a Terrorblade pickup, right? So if you wanted to go Oracle Terrorblade, you're going to have to contend with the fact that Morphling is going to have a free ride into Metamorphosis, and we know how that goes. Morphling enjoys it, so you're going to have to think twice about your hero choice with the Oracle here. Morphling's going to enjoy the Terrorblade. He's going to enjoy the Sven even. You've got to watch out still. Still pretty open here for Mo2. They want to reveal that safe lane. They do see the off lane and safe lane matchup, though. They can kind of plan around that with the next few picks.
They can. Morphling probably going to be a bit of a headache to deal with here for Mo2. Does limit your options as to what you can pick up.
Radiant team pick.
Okay, they'll go for the Prophet. Is popping up here and there to mixed results. Not revealing too much here, Mo2, just going for a very safe pickup in that Prophet.
Yeah, they're leaving it open whether or not that's going to be the Masteros, Fearless, or Jackie hero, so it could be in either core position. Really open. It's an interesting one up against a Bloodseeker. Say if you're trying to run away on low HP, making a TP play, you're going to be easily spotted out. Bloodseeker can just hone into you, so got to watch out for those kinds of on the edge plays. Not going to be too easy to pull off in this game. Gonna have to be cautious as well. There's a lot of wave clear here from Among Us, right? Like Bloodseeker's there. Now you've got the ET on top. The combinations here for Among Us are looking good. Static Storm, Kinetic Field, and then Bloodright on top. Elder Titan Stomp. It's all really lining up well. The timings are looking good. The aggression that you can get out here for Among Us is pretty fantastic. And Mo2, they've still got a lineup that can sort of deal with it. They don't have as good of team fight though. Like they only really have the Tiny, right? Avalanche tosses it. Gonna have to look and see if they want to get more 5v5 team fight potential there. It's gotta come out in the next 2 hero picks.
I'll tell you, they have a lot of that Blood Rage is going to do a lot of damage though. Like you've got Blood Rage plus the Elder Titan aura, reducing everyone's... It's going to be very, very painful. Motivate Trust, they go for the Drow Ranger now. You don't have the Venge there with her, so it is lacking just a bit, but... I suppose they could still go for a Venge pick if they want. It has not been banned out yet, but they do end up picking up the Drow.
I don't know about this one. The Drow has been really up and down. Even with the Venge, right? Even with the Venge, it does kind of middling. In this case, Morphling doesn't mind turning into Drow for one. You don't have the best ways to catch out the Drow. That's one thing, and I guess it's a hero with the Oracle, but it's not quite the kind of combination you look for in Oracle. So. Kind of nebulous as to how effective that combination is. You see Among Us actually do ban Avenge. You're not even going to have that to fall back to. We're going to have to see what Motivate Trust do to tie it up. It's not looking particularly impressive. It does look to be focused on push. So it's a lot of shoving down towers fast with the NP, with the Drow, taking these objectives, shutting down the map. But in terms of actually facing up against the heroes Among Us has, it's not the sharpest. It's not quite the same amount of control. It's not the same amount of damage. I love that Among Us also banned out the DK. Just taking out these push heroes that work with the Drow, just ensuring that the last pick for MG.TRUST is going to be difficult to really synergize with the rest of it.
Dusk.
Right, they'll finish off with the Tusk, so they did get the Venge banned. On Among Us' side of things, so Tusk will come out, and obviously it's a decent combo with the Drow because you could just frost arrows and tag team. It's a lot of damage, but
10 seconds.
Among Us, I'm sure they know how to deal with this. Their final pickup now. They are just lacking an Arbit hero.
Yeah,
Generally seems like you want someone to close the gap on the Drow.
Yeah. They've got the Void Spirit's still there if they wanted that. You could go with a Quap, you could go with a Puck, close the back line. I think a Puck would tie in that team fight really nicely if you wanted that. Just have to worry about that silence from a Drow. Pretty open. Motivate Trust closing out with a Tusk. You mentioned the synergy. The early damage is great. I worry about scaling here. It's after the laning phase. For that damage output, like, you know, tag team still does work. It's just not the same as, say, a Static Storm. It's not the same as the Stop from the ET. It's just not the same scaling. So that's something Motivate Trust has to be aware of. They've got to play with their lanes fast. +1 combo, whoever it is that ends up being his lane partner, and there's the Kunkka coming out for Among Us. So stacking on that durability for Abed, giving them control for the NP with the X. Tying up that team fight as well. It's looking pretty darn good for Among Us. Motivate Trust, they are looking better in terms of aggression. So the heroes can fight faster. They can look for opportunities from the laning phase. They're going to have to do that. You don't want to give out these kills early on. You have to be finding them with that Tiny, with the Tusk. You got to maximize that early game here. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's...
Gonna be on that.
Yeah, it's the last time we've seen that was really more prevalent in China for the most part, right? Like we saw a lot of Somnus mid, Tiny, but it hasn't really caught on outside. It still has potency, right? Like early timers are there. You get an early Shadow Blade or Blink, you're going to be doing damage, you're going to be setting up for your team. That is still vital here for MG.TRUST. Get to that good start, get that Blink fast on Fearless, and start hunting. Like, it's going to take some time for Savage to be big. It's going to take a little bit of investment as well for Abbott to actually start dishing the damage out. You have to use that early window here. And another thing that's really important beyond just winning out those lanes is really where Boombell goes as the Tusk, right? Like, he needs to ensure that his presence leads to kills. If not kills, then he needs to make his presence really toughen that lane up. And you're already seeing, well, at least 3 heroes down. But they're actually sending Jackie on the off lane here. And we'll see if that pays off. The aggression... The aggression you can get out with a Drow and Tusk early on. You talked about it's Frost Arrows tag team. Even a Root coming out from Q. You can more than likely find some kills here, and just back and forth. Both teams just really happy.
I don't know what my pro's done, but apparently they reckon he is the best carry in C.
It's their guild, right? MY. Look, I have no clue who they're calling out, but
30 seconds to battle.
Bonchon keeps. Now they're just making us hungry. Here we go.
There we go again. Clans are going to end soon, though, aren't they? Like, the battle pass is going to wear off, and then clans are gone.
Yeah.
How sad.
I mean, they're supposed to be gone, right? They were supposed to be gone. Oh, they're not gone yet. Do you reckon Immortal Treasure Tree comes out? Because they said they're not going to end it until then, but never know.
The battle begins.
I don't know. I have no clue, John. Q takes the bounty rune down bot. It'll be a 2-for-2 trade to get us started. And what I'm very, very intrigued about is how this mid matchup is going to go between Fearless and Arbet. I mean, the Tiny's very effective, obviously, with the tree grab at CSing. But it's going to get to a point where that Tidebringer is really going to start to hurt. Unless you can get some nice tossbacks into your tier 1 tower or something like that, it's be a hard lane for him eventually.
Yeah, it's not a very easy matchup. I'd say it's explosive at level 4 for Fearless, so when you get 2-2 in your skill points, you can go for a play, or at least 2-1-1 on your skill points. Maybe try to go for an avalanche toss kill, but Abed, it's going to be a smooth ramp up. Tidebringer's just going to sustain him. The supports are going to have to make that difference up, and you know, it's not going to be an easy time. You look up top, you've got Masaros on the NP, of course, with Boombell on the Tusk. So it's actually the NP Tusk lane. Tag team with the Treants is what they're looking for. No early tri lane for that first blood, but it's not a very easy lane to really force it. Savage is around there. They've got Jabs helping him out in the ET, and even if you get the tag team off, he can just kind of shift through and stay alive.
Whiteman running at them, forcing out the tag team from Boombell. Do seem very afraid of this Elder Titan, as of course with the Astral Spirit, even at level 1, you can essentially just get double the damage that you have, and kind of ridiculous how much damage Elder Titan can pump out. It's back down to that bot lane. Q and Jackie having a decent old time, not too stressed out about trying to harass out Cuckoo. Wyman will give him a bit of a thunder strike, but the Fortune's End is going to be able to purge that off anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be a smooth lane for Cuckoo for the most part. You know, he's not going to necessarily slow down Jackie's farm. At the same time, Jackie's not going to be able to put a dent in Cuckoo's farm. So this is going to be a farm for farm trading lane. And it should actually benefit Cuckoo a bit more, just to maintain that pace. You know, Bloodseeker with the early Veil can do a lot of damage and can set the pace of the game. Something you're going to have to be careful about.
Top lane, Masteros going to be the first blood, and Jabs, he just keeps rushing forward. Boombell could not get away from this man, and eventually Jabs will go down, but he does help set up both kills and eventually takes one for himself, and that's going to be a great start out for Among Us.
Yeah, just that's exactly what you want when you've got the ET. You want to enable that aggressive play. and it pays off big. He did have to expend his salve to get that chase off, but you find a kill, so you're happy enough. You're going to be able to TP into, well, no, not regen Savage up because you don't have any left, but still a smooth lane coming out for Savage. Widow's kill, it's going to be very happy. You're not seeing the same farm from Masaros. He's at 7 to 8 compared to Savage's 13, 14 to 5. You're not slowing that Morphling down.
Nice multi-shot out of Jackie. Is going to be able to pick off Whiteman, and Cuckoo was trying to go after Q, but Q's going to be able to salve up and slow Cuckoo right down. Fortune's End is going to fly out, but we do have a pause out from Arbed now. 100% sure what the problem is, but I assume it's just a tiny bit of lag coming out. Speaking of that mid lane, Fearless is standing real far back. Looks like he has been taking quite a bit of harassment out from this Kunkka and has had to go back and get some regen for himself. Does bring out a set of tangos.
Yeah, he does have his bottle early, so he's going to be able to maybe play around those power runes. Again, going to be important for the Tiny to find those just to ensure you've got that regen going. So, again, watch the 4-minute mark for the sports, which it's going to be important. We've seen a lot of teams put that emphasis on the mid just to get those first runes. Wouldn't be surprised to see it here still. Ready to go, and Cuckoo is fine.
Still running. They haven't got a way to hold him down any further. I mean, you've got Boombell there with the snowball, but I don't know if you really have the damage output. It just seems like they're more than happy to make Cuckoo run around instead of being in the bot lane. Be the idea here, but even Boombell going to sneak up from behind now. Cuckoo, but won't be able to get anything done. Meanwhile, mid lane, Fearless is dropping very low. He's going to juke out the turret. Does get a toss off. Arbed wants to go for the final swing, and the Thunderstrike is going to be out from Whiteman as well. But now the snowball is coming into Arbed, and this should be a trade. There will be. Q able to pick up that one on the Oracle. But you're still very happy if you're Arbed. And even top lane Jabs. He just rushes Masaros Titan again and offers him a glass of water.
Yeah, that's one thing you've got to watch out for, just the amount of damage that the ET can do. Jabs has been running down Masaros for a while. You can't leave that lane alone, and they do finally send Q up to do some damage, but Jabs is already happy.
Mid lane, they end up actually dropping Whiteman, and now Q ends up killing off Jabs on his way out. Masaros will just TP his way back in on the Prophet.
Radiant are scanning.
Of course, Whiteman on the Disruptor, John. He was trying to soak some XP in the mid lane, but does end up getting caught out by the Tiny and the Tusk.
Step lively now.
That's that early aggression here for MG.TRUST. That's what their lineup has to get up to. So they're starting to find this aggressive plays, making it work for themselves. They're not finding bigger kills. When you're still happy with just finding these support pickups, you would really want to start to maybe get the kills on the Bloodseeker. But look at that disparity between Cuckoo and Jackie. Jackie's at 5. Cuckoo's still just about to hit 4. Our Drow now off to a very good start compared to that BS.
No problem. He's got the creeps near his tier 1 tower, so he's going to feel fairly safe, and even Jabs now is going to rotate in with Whiteman. They take out Boombell's courier, Blood Right to come out. They would really love to get Jackie on this Drow, but now actually Whiteman going to get turned on by Boombell and the tag team, and they actually end up giving up the Disruptor. No kill on Jackie, no kill on anyone for that matter. That's a big win out for MG.TRUST.
Yeah, they're finding the kills. Again, the early aggression starting to pay off a massive amount. You're not finding that snowball start on the Bloodseekers you'd want. They have diverted their resources out to Abed and Savage, so they're getting the farm out for those two heroes, but you got to be cautious about how much space you give Jackie. This guy is just on top there as a Drow, and once they make their way to tier 1s, those aren't going to stand for too long.
Speaking of tier 1, Savage has gotten started on that top tier 1 tower. Masaros not wanting to get too close to this Morphling, who is out-leveling him by 1. Make matters worse for Masaros. Jabs is here, but a great avalanche toss out from Fearless. sneaking up behind 23 Savage and does end up getting the kill with the Avalanche toss.
Dire's middle
That's an
tower
important
is under
one.
attack.
They've left that Morphling alone for a bit too long. Finally getting the punishment. That's going to give the MG.TRUST a definite edge. Slowing down that Morphling farm, which is, again, what Among Us is banking on. You still got Savage up in #1 in net worth. Jackie's not too far behind, though. That does save their tier 1 for a bit longer. But MG.TRUST, with these movements, must be feeling pretty good. They just need Masaros to bounce back in, and he's already 6. After that rough start, he's starting to slowly build in on the NP. Still a lot slower than you'd want, but it's a better time than even Cuckoo. Like, you compare that to Cuckoo's off, still at 4. No rupture up yet, no farm at all.
So rough, but Masaros is going to get glimpsed back at least. Cuckoo still in danger, has TPs coming in, but it's not going to matter. Fearless able to set up for Jackie, and now Arbit does rotate, but the Edict is going to stop the magic damage coming out on Fearless. Arbit's still going to go for the chase, but Fortune's End, no, it's not going to be enough, but they'll turn around now on that Kunkka. Arbit, he's a tanky man, but he may not be tanky enough as he is dropping quite low and does go down to Q on the Oracle. And MG.TRUST, they are really taking a nice lead in this game #2. Cuckoo does TP back in, but this bot lane is just completely lost for Among Us.
Oh yeah, and all they find is a trade for Masaros up top, opening up that push once more for Savage, but losing Cuckoo again is not put well. That's not the trade. Slow start for the Bloodseeker, Mike. No rupture. I mean, he's gonna have to play in the jungle. Again, this is space being bought out for Abid and for Savage. But what do you expect a Bloodseeker to do now when he's lower than the supports of MG.TRUST? Boomball about to hit the 6 mark. Tier 1 bot gonna be traded for the tier 1 top. And MG.TRUST, they've got a slight lead. 1k gold advantage, but 6 to 10 on kills. They've got a nice amount of EXP above their heads as well. And they're starting to take over that bot jungle. Among Us, you can't play here anymore.
Cannot. On the brighter side, of course, Savage did manage to kill off Masaros up at that top lane, so your Prophet is having an even rougher time. At least he's on the at level 6. Just can't catch a break. Fearless is not going to leave him alone. Does get another kill onto this Bloodseeker. He is level 5 now, but just getting him back into the graveyard. And they're going to start setting up for that mid lane. Jackie, he's joined in. Still Arbet, going to go for an X-Back, but a nice snowball back towards the creep wave out from Boombell will save Fearless the headache.
Yeah, and again, you can see the discipline from MG.TRUST playing the objectives game with their Drow draft, and there's just nothing Among Us can really do. They can drop the blood right, but the tower's already really low.
Up again. Looks like MG.TRUST, they want to take this fight. They do get the tier 1 tower. Going to be able to catch anyone out? Not quite. Shards just way off target, but they got what they came for. You got a quick mid-tier 1. I suppose the only problem left right now for Mo2 is Savage has been farming freely this whole time.
Yeah, it's not a massive amount of gold he's got on top. He's just about 600 above Jackie. It's not too significant, actually. It's pretty much, it's not even a big item. And they're still waiting on Savage to finish up his Manta. It's going to go into the E-Blade next. That's when you start to find opportunities for burst, especially if you play with, say, Blood Rage later on from Cuckoo. Once he has that up, if you pump it onto Savage to get the shotgun blast off, you're going to delete people off the map. It's just that you have to get to that point. So, you know, just stalling out this game is the best Among Us can really hope for the next few minutes. Stimmy to push, you know, stimmy to bleeding. Stop it out for a bit. Keep yourself safe. Find some safe spots on the map to farm. Savage is doing the right thing, playing in that top jungle, where there are no real wards, nothing to stop that farm, and that's the best you can hope for right now.
Masaros does TP bot and does find Whiteman, gets the sprout off, but gets glimpsed back immediately. Nature's Wrath will fly through. Among Us, I'm not sure if they can take this fight. Snowball, going to be out on Jabs, but that'll force out the boat from Arbit. right onto Boombill. He's pretty low with that rupture, and he's going to drop it. Now Savage is going to join his team. They do pick off Fearless on that mid-tiny. Chase continues. They'd love to get Jackie on this Drow. That Blood Right going to be well positioned with the torrent out from Arbed, and that means this Drow Ranger may have just lost his life, though. No, they do get the false promise off in time, but Savage has got so much damage coming out. I think Jackie might just die anyway, and will. Cuckoo has him surrounded with Savage, and there goes your Drow. Not to mention Q also being caught now on the Oracle does go down, and Boombill is not out of the woods yet. He just fought back on that task, but they're just going to keep rushing him. Savage on top, goes for the waveform through, gets tossed back by Fearless. They do lose jabs. Have they gone too far? Snowball is out from Boombill, but no. They don't seem to have the damage output. Savage is actually blocked up by those trees. Thinking about turning back around. Fearless, avalanche toss on Arbed, just trying to get that Kunkka down. He is now trapped in the Sprout, but still on the run. Turns around for a Tidebringer, but does eventually go down. Savage might not want to stick around that area. Do toss Boombill in. He's got the Walrus Punch. He's got the Snowball available, but Savage is going to waveform. Still, the Snowball is going to follow him down. They have control, but a great stop out from Jabs. It's going to stop him in their tracks. And that'll be it for that team fight.
Yeah, it's still a pretty big win for Among Us. They managed to find Jackie. They trade away Abed for that, but they win out in the end. It's still a slight lead now for MG.TRUST, but you can see Savage start to pull ahead from those kills on him. 7.4k compared to Jackie's around 6k. A nice 1.5k lead, as I believe Savage is flying out his Manta, or at least a recipe, so it's almost there. Into the Scotty next. That's the point where Savage can start to apply some more presence, but MG.TRUST are not leaving any room to breathe, keeping that shove down bot.
Very easy push for them. Bloodright gonna come out to delay things, but oh, they're gonna start a fight. Fearless does jump in onto Whitemon. It's another disruptor kill for himself, and that'll give him his Blink Dagger money.
Radiant's bottom tower
14 minutes in, he does now have it up.
Has fallen.
Also going to find a nice double damage rune for himself in this Tiny. Well, I expect him to try and get another kill very, very soon.
Yeah, just racking up the damage. Among Us, the one big issue for them right now is the level 6 timings on their supports, particularly Whitemon. He's been stuck at 5. And he needs to hit that 6 mark. They need a Static Storm to come out. Jabs has been on point with his stomps, but you just need that additional control.
Radiant are scanning.
He does have his ult up as well here, Jabs. Finally getting the point in. Once you have that tool from Whitemon, you might be able to look for more opportunities with a counter plays. But you are down in control now. That bot jungle not very safe for anyone in Among Us to go into.
Avalanche toss. That'll be Whitemon gone.
Middle tower is under attack.
Poor Disruptor just trying to get some D wards out, but immediately dies to the Tiny. Among Us just trying to allow Cuckoo to catch up on this Bloodseeker, and in all fairness, he has reached level 9 now. So he's getting there. He's very close to being fully caught up. But in terms of net worth, he is very low. I mean, 4.3k is pretty abysmal. Behind the Oracle of all things on the other side. Not a very good position for him.
No, and you know, he's going for that Blade Mail build, just to have that value item up early. You tend to see the Veil be prioritized. You just can't go for it. Like, there's not enough to really maximize it as well. So that does put the utility back just a touch for Among Us on that Bloodseeker. Down mid though.
It's the X off on Boombill, but the Snowball will be there in time, and Whitemon, he's already gone, and now Fearless, he gets blown up by Savage. So 1-for-1, but it looks like Among Us are going to be ahead here. As Boombill, he'll try for the TP. Arbed will just X him back, and that'll be Boombill gone. And of course, meanwhile, Q, he is also surrounded with the false promise out, does get the TP off in time, but does die in the fountain. That'll be a 3-for-1 trade, I believe it was. Only Whitemon going down for Among Us. Even then, he's died that many times on the Disruptor, I really don't think he minds anymore.
Now. Your
No,
admiral is on
definitely
board.
doesn't. You're gonna be happy if you're Among Us. You get the big kills. You punish Fearless for being a bit too keen. And you're building up still. There's just a lot more room to grow as the game goes late and you find more.
Like, or Jackie, that's the big one. Blood Rite to come in. Masteros TP'd into the Blood Rite. Maybe he saved the Drow, but he's given his own life away here. Trying to run, Fearless, a great avalanche toss with the multi-shot out. Jabs, very low, does go down to the Purifying Flames, but there goes
Radiant's
Masteros.
bottom tower is under
So
attack.
dying on the Prophet. Savage just going to TP his way out on the morph. Arbit trying to do the same. Everyone missing out on those TPs. And Whitemon actually survives the avalanche toss this time around. Does get himself away.
Oh yeah, just a really messy back and forth in the end. I believe Among Us are going to be happy. They're keeping Masteros down as much as Cuckoo has been kept down. Still been a bit better for the NP, but not by much. So you're going to be happy with that. There's a smoke here from MG.TRUST though. Gonna keep hunting.
You've got such low cooldowns. I mean, there's essentially no cooldowns apart from the false promise. You may as well just keep going.
Dire are scanning.
Fearless. Into Savage. That'll be a massive pickoff. Avalanche toss. Not quite enough. Not even with the multi-shot. Savage will try to waveform out. Now the trade. Turn around and fight here. Among Us do get the boat out. Onto Jackie. With the stomp out from Jabs. Still Fearless. Going to jump back in for an avalanche toss. But Cuckoo just trying to get out. Will not be able to. The Fortune's End is going to be enough. Who are they aiming here? Jabs getting trapped up on the low ground. Can't get the stop off in time. He'll also be the one to go down. They're going to try for a Roshan play.
Oh, big one. You're not in a position here for Among Us to try to fight in. You can't afford to give it out, but you can't expect 3 heroes to do enough. And MG.TRUST, you talked about it, but no cooldowns to wait for. They're always ready to fight. It feels like that momentum's a bit too much for Among Us to play against. Like MG.TRUST are just all over the map, forcing the aggression. Among Us need more time to farm, and they're not being given that time.
Basically all on just Savage to get that farm up, and he is still doing a great job of getting his net worth up. It's just that Morphling is so weak right now that it just takes a lot more
Dire's
time.
middle tower is under
You need
attack.
more items on this hero than you used to.
Radiant are scanning.
It's like just back in the day you used to just buy a shotgun and it was fine. You were good to go, but not so
Dire's
much the
middle
case
tower
anymore.
is under attack.
Yeah, it's going to be slower going.
Radiant's top tower is
Another
under
factor
attack.
as well is that Cuckoo still hasn't recovered too well.
Radiant
He's still
structures
lagging
are
behind. He's
fortified.
barely ahead of Q, mind you.
Dire's
Like a
middle
while ago, he
tower
was
is
behind
under
Q,
attack.
so that's an improvement
Radiant's
compared to
top
being
tower is
behind.
under
But
attack.
again, you want to see a little bit more progress there. Still, MG.TRUST, you know, they've got that Aegis. They're feeling confident. 20 minutes in, 14 to 19, clearing out that top tier 1. No defense coming out, of course, as it's pretty much a dead lane. Not much you can really expect there. Although,
Cuckoo just ruptured it, keeping Tiny. Turn around onto Boombill, but the glimpse back is going to ruin the blood run.
Radiant's top
Bit of
tower is under
miscoordination there, and Jabs
attack. Bottom tower
by
is
himself
under
across the
attack.
map. Also going to get caught out by Fearless.
and that punishment is costing them. This is delaying the Ag's timing for Jabs. They really need it just to get the full channel off from their spells, and you know, having that spell immunity up when the Astral Spirit is out, very helpful. It's delayed. It's really delayed now. And he's not had that progression. So Among Us being punished for this slower playstyle in MG.TRUST, they grow bigger and bigger. They've got that Spirit Vessel up on Boombill. You've got a way to mitigate that regen that is coming out on Savage. This is just the bane of every single Morphling, right? Having your Strength Morph be affected in such a way always hurts, and that's going to make it more complicated for
Dire's
Savage to
middle
keep
tower
himself
has been
alive.
Denied.
That it will, but he's got an Aghanim Scepter himself now. What's the idea? He's going to morph into Jabs,
Your admiral is on board.
get the Aghanim upgrade from Jabs, get a free BKB and stolen damage.
Perhaps, yeah. That sounds like it. Just the free damage, then you swap back to Morphling. It sounds pretty ridiculous. Even Abed, right? They turn into a second Kunkka with 2 X's, 2 Torrents. That's pretty good as well.
Torrent Storm's gonna be quite nice
Oh yeah.
for Savage, but he does go for the Order Titan.
Okay, how much damage?
Your admiral is on board.
That's not too much.
Yeah, it's actually a bit underwhelming. Just 55 bonus. You'd want more, but this is, you know, it's helpful. It's low committal to get the spirit out. You're not wasting much just running through there. And it is a nice scouting tool, so Savage can protect himself. It looks so funny when you see two of them flying out, though.
Yeah.
It's just a bit strange.
This spirit's just... The spirit, oh, it's gone. It was stuck in the trees.
Yeah, because he lost the form.
Yeah.
You gotta love the beta game, Mike.
Yep.
You gotta love it.
Fearless mid lane. Get a little bit cautious there, just showing himself for a second. Go for a smoke. Spirit is going to go through, and they know Jabs is pinging it out. Cuckoo. Stuck around there with an avalanche toss out from Fearless. He is a bit tankier than you'd expect now, so Blood Right is going to be able to come out with the rupture. The snowball. Pioneer away, but Fearless going to have to take the stop now from Jabs, but there's going to be no follow-up to that. Pretty much be it.
Yeah, it's not the biggest loss in the world for Among Us. Again, they've already kind of resigned to Cuckoo's fate and Cuckoo's farm. Gotta be careful still showing up here, not very safe.
Whitemon, he could go for a glimpse back, but the snowball is going to buy them some time to run. There's your glimpse coming out onto Fearless with a static storm and kinetic field. And this Tiny, well, he'll get used up. Might buy him enough time. In fact, it does, but the X is now going to be there from Arbit. Great shots out from Boombell, locking them in, and now Fearless back out with the toss, straight onto Jabs, but the Elder Titan is still not dying. Now poor old Masaros going to get glimpse back on the Prophet. They do finally kill Jabs. But can they retreat without being punished? Oh, that's a nice snowball once again from Boombell. Gonna buy time to avoid the boat. Now with the multi-shot, going back in, but here comes Savage, trying to go after Q. In fact, no, they'll focus on Boombell. That'll be a Tuskar. Fearless, he's just bleeding in the corner. Can't really help right now as he waits for the rupture to wear off. And it finally does, so we'll go after Whitemon. Doesn't really finish off the kill, or does actually with that tree throw, but it's going to cost him his own life, or perhaps not. The false promise is out now from Q. Cuckoo still going in with the Blood Right, is going to go down to Q on the Oracle. Savage, go back in for the Prophet. Eventually might be able to get him, but no. Again, Q saving the day, and now our Drow can turn back around onto Arbed and get that damage out. Arbed with that Heaven's Albert, going to be able to walk away. Now Savage going back onto the Drow. It's literally Arbed versus Savage versus the world. Boombell going to come back in with the Walrus Punch now. Arbed getting a reset. He's XTPing and coming back into this fight very, very soon to help out Savage once again. Warren is going to be there. The Fortune's End flying all the way back from the fountain onto Masaros. The Prophet is very low, but Savage is even lower and does end up finally dropping. And now Arbed has been left alone with no friends. Well, I say that. Whiteman is just around the corner. Not much he can do as the Disruptor to help out. He'll drop a kinetic field. Rupture out on Boombell. Cuckoo now going to come back into the fight. But they do not want to continue. They want to disengage, and they will get away with Arbed intact.
Ooh, man, a messy back and forth between both sides, but that is a big win for MG.TRUST. They come out on top in the end. Jackie, living true with a sliver of HP, can be very pleased with himself. As Among Us, they keep having to throw the bodies out. Now, that Astral Spirit Ags upgrade, giving a free BKB to Savage is big, and he is going for the pure right-click build off of that. He's got his crit stick up. He's looking for the Daedalus next, and maybe finish up the Scotty afterwards. But it's just a lot of farm that needs to come out for him to match that output, for him to start bursting these heroes down. And it's starting to feel a bit lacking. Like, they've got a lot of durability with Abed, but the damage isn't coming out. A Cuckoo, you know, he just drops Blood Right. There's just not much you can do when you're this far behind on the Bloodseeker. They're gonna have to find a way to get that farm distribution back on track. Except when your map has shrunk this much, it's very difficult to get all of these heroes up and running. And, you know, key items are still coming out for MG.TRUST. There's a BKB up on Jackie, so they smoke up. They're gonna go hunting.
Oh, not.
Radiant are scanning.
Obviously, that last team fight, although it was quite even, did go very well for Motivate. Start with Whitemon to burst him down. Snowball gonna be out. We'll stun him up through the Glimmer Cape, and Boombell will eventually just finish him off with the Walrus Punch. Onto that tier 2 mid tower.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Of course, Jabs is gonna be there to just try and slow things down with the Older Titan Stomp.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Look at
attack.
the damage coming out from Jackie and Masteros. It's just
Radiant structures
so much damage. They are forced to glyph this one up. Is out with the blood right onto Fearless, but he's going to be alright to run away. Perhaps not the Q though, because he does get X back, but he gets the false promise off in time. Now the snowball back in, but Abed times the boat very, very well. And does connect both of them with Jackie, getting the multi-shot, but Savage now is breaking the gap, going after Fearless and the Drow. Do they have the damage output or the control? Fearless, nice blink away. Cuckoo's running pretty fast, but they're not going to keep chasing. Or are they? Savage looking for a glimpse attempt with that Disruptor morph, but not going to be able to get one.
Yeah, it's a good disengage for MG.TRUST. They only lose their supports, so not much of value actually being dropped there. They're going to be happy enough to get back and reset. Would like to make more progress on those tier 2s, especially that mid one, but good defense from Among Us. They are without a fortify for a bit longer though. Have to be cautious about the next fights that break out, as MG.TRUST are not gonna, it's not like they're just gonna sit back and wait. Again, no cooldowns means that they can just keep running at you, and they might just look for that. There is a rush up for the taking as well. Gonna have to keep your eye out on that objective. That is gonna be the Aegis and Cheese. There's a courier here from Cuckoo to keep track. No, not quite that same information from MG.TRUST, but they are smoked.
Whitemon, they get caught out by Fearless again, and well, gets the Glimmer Cape off in time. Alright. Fearless still looking for him, does eventually get him with the Avalanche Toss, and will be enough with Q, throwing out the Purifying Flames. Want to go for more again. Everybody is going to be able to get back from Among Us, so back into that Roshan pit.
Your Admiral is on board.
Maybe not. Abed with these illusions going to be able to scout out that pit, so they don't want to risk anything quite yet. They'll have to come back another time.
It's a good stall out from Among Us. Does cost them 1 life, but this puts them in a good position to contest the next rush, that rush actually. So you're gonna have Whitemon up, you've got the Static Storm. It's not a very easy fight for MG.TRUST to go into, but it's like they're just gonna settle for the runes for now. And again, back to resetting, waiting for certain items. You've got a BKB now on Masaros. So 2 BKBs in play, fresh charges for MG.TRUST. Also very close to getting a blink out on Q, and a E-Blade on Fearless. Just maybe wait out for one of those items to be ready, and then you can look to make more plays on the map. As Among Us, you know, they're using that time to farm up as well. It's still a bit slow going. The Daedalus is just about done for Savage though. That's going to be a huge damage boost, especially when he does get a good amount of spirits, or a good amount of heroes bumped by his spirit in the Elder Titan form. That is something that MG.TRUST has to be a bit leery about. The right click of Savage can shoot up massively from that.
Can.
Step lively now.
No matter whether Savage can stay alive though, like that's just been the main issue is once that Spirit Vessel gets put on Savage and he doesn't have any way to dispel it, it does get very problematic for this Morphling. Bot lane, Jabs, going to be picked off by Fearless, who is very, very deep, and this might cost him his life. They throw the turret and the boat in, and Savage with the tiny morph does manage to get up the kill.
See you later, nerds.
Well, they're going to try and rush the Roshan with this. Forcing Among back into that Roshan pit, but they are not taking it fast enough. Cuckoo will be there to scout this out, and they have to disengage.
It's not the best of trades for MG.TRUST. You're going to be happy about that if you're Among Us. And again, you're keeping Roche stalled out. It's an awkward situation for MG, as they've been sitting on these BKBs for a while. They haven't had the opportunity to just jump in, commit the BKB, find a fight. They're not finding the opening, so very disciplined of Among Us, just playing the patience game. MG.TRUST, they're not getting too rattled. They're still playing that farm up, but it's not too big of a lead they have. They have to be aware as the game pushes towards that late game. You're talking about, you know, it's a Morphling late. It scales a little bit better. The Kunkka, especially once the Ags comes out, be a major factor. We've seen the Tidestorm really make a good difference in engagements for teams with a Kunkka. So those are some spikes to watch out for here from MG.TRUST. If you stall this out too long, you will have to deal with those tools coming into play.
Absolutely. It's funny as well, Loopbet is still sitting as with Among Us as favorites in this match. Dota Plus is actually agreeing. 61% for Among Us in this matchup. MG.TRUST has the 4K net worth lead, but perhaps a bit of a drafting thing to happen there with the AI. Like, it's weird to see that, isn't it? Like, having a higher win rate for Among Us when they're kind of, well, they're 10 kills behind 4K net worth. Scaling gets pretty insane when you have a Morphling and things like the Older Titan. I guess the Tiny does drop off. I mean, that is your mid-core in comparison to, say, the Arbed Kunkka, who can sort of scale really well with Tidebringer.
Yeah, the one thing is, I mean, MG.TRUST can keep up. It's just a bit harder. Like, you fall off in raw stats, you fall off in raw damage. Your kit is not as pliable as Among Us because, you know, you go for a Drow draft, it does tend to hit certain timings, and then it does kind of taper off. A bit cautious about that. I think as the game goes on, you will have to redistribute that farm to Masaros, so it becomes more about the NP, because you want him to be able to really melt down lanes, apply that pressure with a split push. You know, once you get, say, the site of Vice that he's queued up, and then you can get so much more control as well with the NP when he does go for those side lane pushes. It's just several items away. Up the AEC, and then you're talking about the site of Vice. It's such a long time off. He's gonna need to be the one to start reeling it in, and Trust has to be ready to give that space out. He's relatively close to Jackie in the farm, so they have been very good in splitting that split push aggressively and force Among Us to make mistakes. And when you're depending on the enemy to make mistakes, it's not a sure-cut thing, you know, especially for a team like Among Us, who they've been undaunted despite being this far behind. They're smoked up looking for a play.
It's a nice X out, Jackie. They get caught, but they don't capitalize. Perhaps not feeling confident with their position.
Step lively now.
Didn't have any vision of the other team, so it was just Jackie that they had vision of, and they leave him be. They'll go for the Roshan play.
It's a bit sneaky. You don't have the wards there, and that's a real quick one. Savage picks it up. Gonna be scary going into this fight with Savage being this big.
Huge. Start with the Astral Spirits
Radiant's
out.
middle tower is under attack.
Really catch anyone out. Very slow game between these two. Aghanim Scepter coming out onto Jabs now, so you've got double Aghanim Scepter on these Titans.
Radiant's bottom tower
So essentially
is under
2 free
attack.
BKBs. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, if you catch 5 with that Astral Spirit, that's a free 10-second spell mute once it's back. So you're gonna be banking on clumping them up. the issue is getting MG.TRUST to be that stuck together. It's been a bit difficult to force them, to corral them into such a tight spot. Really disciplined players. Like they have been holding out well. There's that E-Blade out on Fearless. He gets massive damage boost with his Avalanche Toss combo. Have to be wary. Fearless has been on point targeting key heroes. He's been keeping Whitemon down, keeping that Disruptor out of play, and has made it harder for Whitemon to commit that Static Storm. So watch your spacing there. Ensure your backline's not too exposed. You do start to need that Static Storm to land consistently here as the game racks on.
Go.
Step lively now. Your Admiral is on board.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Masteros might be the one to get caught. The TP, and they don't have vision. Alright. Fearless, however, is at the
Radiant's
top lane.
tower is under attack.
They haven't scouted him out either, so he's going to hide in the tree line.
Step lively now. Your Admiral is on board.
Yeah,
They're just going to sit back. They don't really catch anyone out.
yeah, just stalling out for both sides. They'll have that slight lead for MG.TRUST, trying to find those key items on these two heroes. Jackie's still waiting for 2 parts for his Butterfly. Masteros is just the plate meal away from having full AC. So AC into sight, again, very important for the NP to have that control, to have that durability. Perhaps once the sight is up, that's when you can expect MG to go for a play, but with this opportunity, Savage is just cutting the wave onto those tier 2s.
AC now up on Masteros. Savage does take care of that tier 2 top tower, and
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Moke up now.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Savage's courier though, he's going to lose that Reaver. So, not going to be able to quite finish off the Satanic yet. But run into Boombill and Jackie. Arbet should see Jackie there with the Blood Run. Does get the X off in time. Jackie, however, pops the BKB. Will be right, and now Fearless going to go in onto Jabs, but he'll also be safe. Jackie now. Well, Fearless rather, getting glimpsed back on the Tiny. He's been trapped up by that Static Storm and really has nowhere to go. He'll try to force stuff to the low ground, but Savage is on the case. He is stuck. I was going to form up, but it probably won't matter. Eventually Savage should be able to get the kill, and does. While Arbed was chasing for more on the Kunkka. Wasn't able to quite catch anyone out there, but they are still hanging around that bot area. That'll be it. They're going to go mid-tier 2 instead.
The objective games for Among Us, they're going to be happy with just finding that one pickoff. Took a lot of work, and just shows you how much more MG.TRUST does have left in the bank. Using this opportunity to find some tier 4 items. But they're going to have the edge in that sense, as Among Us hasn't quite dipped into the jungle. They've only got one though, but the high ground is open here.
Fast tier 3 tower. Some Savage, but with that Blood Rage, he does attack very, very quick.
Is under attack.
Back off after the glyph, and they are pinging up that bot tier 1 now, so just wanting to deal with that instead. We want to go for more than just 1 Rax, of course. Meanwhile, mid lane, Jabs catching up Masteros, does get the Earth Spinner off. Masteros forces TP, and BKB and TP up.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
At the same time, that'll be your Aegis gone now, and Savage, it does end up expiring.
Yeah, that's the 10-second BKB reveal as well for Masteros. We've been sitting on those BKBs for so long. Now, that was actually the first time he used it. So, again, not finding those openings for MG.TRUST to get that item usage out still. MG.TRUST, they've smoked up. This is going to be into certain tier 4 items, though. The Princess Knife might turn him off a bit there.
Possibly do so. Fearless does get in to cancel the TP of Jabs. They do blow up the Titan. Bo not going to really connect onto Fearless. He does Yules away. Masteros, as usual, getting glimpsed out of the team fight, but Cuckoo is going to be left behind, and they do clean up a 2 for nothing.
a big win. Not the biggest kills, but you're going to be having a numbers advantage, so you can look to push down a tower. There's no Roche, so it's going to have to be the last outer tower. And that's all Among Us Tier 2 gone. Onto the high ground. They don't have anything like an Aegis, though. Bit cautious about the damage output here.
Radiant structures are fortified.
That's Ross. As soon as they see him, they just glimpse him back every single time. And he'll be alright. He'll be close by. Do it the old-fashioned way and walk back down.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Tier 3 tower is not going to last very long.
Radiant's middle
See that
tower
gone.
is falling.
Savage. Get a lot of damage off onto Jackie. Do still have Q there to just reset him. Those heals out.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
But high ground defense is very, very good from Among Us, and they aren't going to be able to go any further than that Tier 3 tower.
Regeneration.
Yeah, just playing it safe. You don't want to give any opportunities to Among Us to bounce back. They do have the 7k net worth advantage, 20 to 31. They've got all the space in the world to just sit back, keep farming up. Masaros is working nicely into that site of Vice. Once you've got that in the NP, he gets a sort of a second life in terms of how much damage you can pump out. You know, you're also finding some decent trickle down farm here for your supports. Q is working towards an Aeon disc, and that is just perfect for something like the Oracle. You know, having that window to just cast your False Promise on your cores going to be a massive help for MG.TRUST and boosting their durability. As the game's starting to go a bit late, 14 minutes in. Among Us not out of it yet, but it is getting a bit more complicated in finding those openings.
Neither one really wanting to give the advantage away to the other. Fearless gonna go in onto Cuckoo, but we'll get glimpsed back out from Whitemon. But Masaros gonna TP in onto that Disruptor, and they will take him out. Whitemon having a very, very hard game on the Disruptor so far.
Dire's middle
Can't really
tower is
avoid
under
death
attack.
once he is sprouted up like that. Except for the fact that he is gonna die. Dark. Be able to get anything though with that Disruptor kill. It really doesn't mean much because the respawn timer is so low. Gonna be guaranteed to be back up soon anyway.
Yeah, it's one benefit for Whitemon. It's like he is, you know, still 15. Doesn't take too long for him to be back. There's no objectives on the map anymore for MG.TRUST. That's safe. The Roche is still about a minute and a half, a minute 20 off. And once that's up, that might be where MG.TRUST set their sights next. But before then, you know, it's just back to farming, back to waiting out the, building up for buybacks, building up for those big items. You look at Fearless, he is going for the Dagon, so we're at that point where tiny stacks of Dagons up. Gonna be a bit until he gets the full Dagon 5. But there's that Aeon disc up for MG.TRUST, so you've got that safety net on Q to cast the spells, and that's just going to make it more difficult for Among Us. They can't just immediately blow up the Oracle. They're going to have to contend with that fact that one of these heroes are going to stay alive a lot longer than you want them to when these fights do break out.
Radiant are scanning.
It's a bit of a stalemate, I suppose you'd call it. It's a 7k net worth lead. It's been a bit up and down, but I suppose 7k at 42, 43 minutes in doesn't really matter anymore. Dota Plus has no clue, sitting at 57% for Among Us. We're not really seeing that amazing scaling yet out of this more for Kunkka. It's hitting very hard, it's just not the issue. It's
Tower is under attack.
so many ways of escaping, so many defensive abilities being thrown out by MG.TRUST that they can't really burst down anyone. All props to Cube, by the way, on the Oracle. He's been doing an amazing job.
Oh yeah. Been on point, you know, the blink has been paying dividends. MG.TRUST, they do smoke up though, had a bit of enough of that.
Savage gonna get jumped on. Fearless does not get the avalanche, now does get ruptured. Static Storm gonna hold him in place. They don't really want to give up this tiny like this, but they may not have a choice. choice.
Jackie.
Two down, and Jackie, he is very far forward, so they just jump him immediately. That'll force the buyback from Fearless. Jackie is going to be okay, but Boombo will not be. Now, well, they're looking for more Arbit. A great stop out from Jabs into Arbit's X. And Fearless, he did just buy back. They can't afford to lose him like this. So Masaros will control back, and now Jackie also being caught out on the drown. An ultra kill out for Savage making a rampage.
Oh boy. MG.TRUST, and they've been so patient for so long. They forced the smoke off the hill. Like Savage was at the perfect spot at the perfect time to punish. All of a sudden, that lead of MG.TRUST gone. Roshan, third of the game, going the way of Among Us. That's a refresh shard along with the Ages and Cheese. They're just ready to go to catch one out.
Masaros, now he'll be right.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
To that point where you want to try and make something happen with this Aegis Cheese and a refresher shot for that matter.
Yeah.
Savage is pretty far now. Should know that Fearless does not have buyback on the Tiny, but it seems as though it's going to be a slow process as Savage. He doesn't really have any boots up at the moment, but he is just going to eat the cheese and start rushing through mid.
Yeah, it's a pretty good bounce back here for Cuckoo as well. Like, he's still behind in that fort, but not too behind Fearless. And Fearless was up there a while ago. There's an Abyssal now in Cuckoo, so they've got more ways of jumping in, more control, and it's been a fantastic time for Cuckoo. Despite all those stats, still found a farm. They just need to make use of these pickups.
Bates Edict. Slow down Savage for a second. He has fine rapier. Alright, Savage has had enough of this game. Straight Divine on the Morphling.
Yeah, why not? I don't mind it. So if he hits like a truck, he's gonna hit even harder. The only thing to stop him is Q's disarm, so that's really what they're gonna depend on now.
Where is the Divine? He's keeping it in the courier for now. Does bring it out. Then active. Here into that Elder Titan form. Masaros always been hexed up, so Savage looking for that Oracle, doesn't quite get that, but just blows up Boombill, and now the Abyssal is out on Jackie. He'll try and Hurricane Pike away. They'll just focus on Masaros instead, and now Jackie will be focused down by Savage. He does get into the backlines and just hits him as the Elder Titan. But toss back, not quite to the fountain, but they got the hex off on Savage. But he has been strength morphing. Does have the Aegis anyway.
Dire's middle tower is
That'll be
attack.
enough for Among Us. They get the racks, they back off.
Yeah, safe plays from them. They're just gonna take it slow. Savage is out of mana. Does still have the Aegis, so they're gonna go for the XTP play just to regen him for the full. And they force feed him mangoes in the base too. Just getting to that full mana point. Efficiency, Mike, it's always important. MG.TRUST now. And their one Rax is protected. They've still got an outer tower left, but not going to hold on to these the top range.
Oh, Fearless, you can't die like this. Not right now. Caught by that kinetic field. And he's gone.
Ooh.
The big crit out from Savage.
Holy moly! Man,
they might just go for that final lane of racks.
I think they have to go for tier 4s. Yeah, the tier 2 is still up. Just gonna go for that end game, and without the Tiny, your control is kind of gone here.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under Dire's middle tower.
One tier 4 gone. That's another quick tier 4 gone for Savage. And he's just going to waveform through. He is done with this game. He wants the Ancient. And he's going to go straight for it. They can't really slow him down. Or can they? They get the hex off from Masaros. Boats flying in. He'll waveform the other way. Another disarm. But he is focused in on those objectives. And that is it. GG Warplane is called. And Among Us will win their second 2-0 victory throughout these group stages thus far.
Oh yeah, I mean, this time around, MG.TRUST did make them work for it. They had a